McDonald's Canada just reported billions in revenue, and somewhere between a $6 hash brown and a $16 combo meal, this country quietly became one of the most expensive places on earth to eat a burger that costs less than $2 to make. Last week, a viewer in Mississauga sent us a receipt for a single Big Mac meal. No upgrades, no extra sauce, just the basic combo, and it rang in at $19.40 after tax. $19. For context, that's almost the price of a movie ticket, except the movie is 40 seconds long and the popcorn gives you heartburn. But money isn't even the most shocking thing happening behind those golden arches from coast to coast right now. Today we're exposing 10 McDonald's Canada secrets the company hopes never go viral, from the chemistry hiding inside your McFlurry to an app trick that can cut your bill nearly in half, and by the time we hit secret number 1, you will never look at a Canadian drive-thru the same way again, so let's get into it. Secret number 10. The same combo can cost you $8 more depending on which province, city, or even which side of the street you order from. McDonald's Canada does not set one national price. Every location is run by an independent franchisee, and every franchisee sets their own menu prices within loose corporate guidelines. That means a quarter-pounder meal in downtown Toronto can be priced completely differently than the exact same meal 20 minutes away in Scarborough. And both of those can be different again from a location in Mississauga, Brampton, or anywhere along the Highway 401 corridor where rent is higher and franchisees know commuters won't bother shopping around. One of our viewers in Alberta did an experiment ordering the same 10-piece McNugget meal from 3 different McDonald's locations within a 15-minute drive of his house. The cheapest was $12.90. The most expensive at a location attached to a gas station off the highway was $16.75. Same nuggets, same fries, same drink, almost $4 difference for doing absolutely nothing different except choosing a different parking lot. Multiply that by the average Canadian fast food habit, a couple of visits a week, and you are looking at over $200 a year just from picking the wrong location out of pure convenience. Before you order anything, open the McDonald's app, check the price at your usual spot, then check the price at the location 1 or 2 exits away. 30 seconds of scrolling can quietly save you a small fortune over a year. Secret number 9. The healthy menu in Canada is the biggest illusion on the entire board. The grilled chicken salad with the so-called light dressing sounds like the responsible choice, the thing you order when you're trying to convince yourself this trip to McDonald's doesn't count. Except once you add the dressing that almost everyone adds, that salad can clock in at well over 500 calories, putting it dangerously close to, and in some cases above, a basic cheeseburger. Then there's the parfait, sitting in its little clear cup like a tiny trophy of self-control, and it is loaded with enough sugar to rival a chocolate bar. McDonald's Canada didn't put these items on the menu because they expect millions of people to order them every day. They put them there so the one health-conscious person in the car has something to point at, so the group doesn't drive past and go to Tim Hortons or A&W instead. It's not a health menu, it's a permission menu. It exists purely so everyone else in the car feels better about ordering 2 cheeseburgers and a large poutine. Secret number 8, the poutine that started a national debate about what counts as real food. McDonald's poutine became one of the most iconic items on the Canadian menu, the thing American tourists specifically come here to try, and yet almost nobody asks the obvious question, what is actually in that gravy? The fries are the same chemically treated, preservative-loaded fries we've talked about before. Fries so stable they can sit on a counter for days without changing in any meaningful way, which already tells you something about how far removed they are from an actual potato. Then comes the cheese curds, which in a real Quebec poutine are supposed to squeak when fresh, and the gravy, a brown liquid built from a powder base, water, flavoring agents, and thickeners, assembled in a packet, heated, and poured. None of these 3 components started the day anywhere near each other. They were manufactured separately, shipped separately, and combined under a heat lamp into something that gets sold to you as a taste of Quebec. A homemade poutine has maybe 6 or 7 real ingredients you could pronounce on the first try. The McDonald's version reads like a chemistry exam. It's not that it tastes bad. Plenty of people genuinely enjoy it. But if you ever wondered why it tastes slightly different every single time depending on which province you're in, now you know, because the ratio of powder to water is being eyeballed by a 16-year-old on a Tuesday night shift. Secret number 7, the $60,000 ice cream machine that breaks down constantly, and Canada is not spared. You've probably heard the American horror stories about McFlurry machines being broken more often than they work, and the exact same Taylor-manufactured machines are sitting inside McDonald's locations across Ontario, British Columbia, Quebec, and every other province. These machines require a brutal 4-hour overnight cleaning cycle, and if anything during that cycle goes even slightly wrong, the machine locks itself down completely until a certified Taylor technician, often the only one covering a massive territory, can come unlock it. Independent estimates suggest that at any given moment, roughly 1 in 3 McDonald's ice cream machines across North America, Canada absolutely included, is sitting there dark, useless, displaying an error code that even the manager doesn't understand. Some Canadian franchise owners have quietly admitted their machine has been down for weeks at a time during peak summer months, the exact moment demand for a McFlurry or a soft serve cone is at its highest. The machine costs more than a used car, requires a technician flown in like a specialist surgeon, and somehow still manages to be broken on a hot July afternoon when a lineup of kids is staring at the menu board in disbelief. If the machine in your local McDonald's is actually working right now, consider it a small miracle and order immediately, because the window will close faster than you think. Secret number 6, the McNuggets are roughly half something that isn't really chicken in the way you'd picture chicken. The chicken portion that goes into Canadian McNuggets is a ground paste made from chicken trimmings, combined with a mix of stabilizers, leavening agents, seasonings, and yes, dextrose, which is just sugar, mixed directly into what is marketed to children as a protein-packed snack. There's also an anti-foaming agent used in the cooking oil that, chemically speaking, shows up in industrial and cosmetic products as well. Present in tiny regulated amounts, but enough that if you said it out loud to someone biting into a nugget, they might pause mid-chew. Every nugget across the country comes out in the same 4 shapes because they aren't individually cut from a piece of meat, they're pressed into molds from a paste, the exact same way every single time, in facilities that have nothing to do with the location you're ordering from. A parent in Ottawa did the classic blind taste test, homemade breaded chicken pieces versus McDonald's nuggets with her 2 kids, and both kids picked the homemade ones without hesitation, with her 8-year-old saying the McDonald's ones tasted like, in his words, the inside of a toaster. We're not eating chicken at that point. We're eating salt, fat, sugar, and a shape we recognize from childhood, and that recognition is doing more heavy lifting than the actual chicken is. Secret number 5. Artificial intelligence is quietly taking over Canadian drive-thrus right now, and most customers have no idea it's already happening. McDonald's has been piloting AI-powered voice ordering systems at drive-thru locations across the country, where instead of a human employee taking your order through a crackling speaker, an automated voice system processes what you say, attempts to build your order, and sends it through to the kitchen with little to no human involvement on the front end. Early versions of this technology, tested heavily in the United States a few years ago, became infamous for hilarious and infuriating mistakes, adding dozens of extra items to orders, misunderstanding basic requests, and generally creating chaos, which is why that earlier rollout was quietly shut down. Now, a new version is being tested again, this time built on more advanced AI systems, and Canadian locations are part of the testing ground. On top of voice ordering, some locations are introducing automated weight checking systems that scan your bag before it's handed over, comparing the actual weight to what the receipt says should be inside, flagging discrepancies automatically. There's also a geofencing feature built into the app, where your phone's location data tells the kitchen you're approaching, triggering your order to start cooking before you've even pulled into the lot. So by the time you reach the window, it's supposedly ready and waiting. McDonald's wants tens of millions of Canadians actively using the app, tracked, geofenced, and served by a combination of robots and cameras, and whether you find that convenient or unsettling probably depends on how you feel about a fast food chain knowing exactly when your car turns onto the street it's located on. Secret number 4. the app deal that almost nobody in Canada actually uses properly, and it is sitting on millions of phones doing absolutely nothing. The McDonald's Canada app rotates exclusive offers every single day, deals that are completely invisible if you walk up to the counter or speaker without opening it first. Free items with minimum purchases, discounted combos, buy one get one offers on sandwiches, and rotating dollar menu style deals that change daily and sometimes even change by time of day. If you order without checking the app first, you are functionally paying full price while the car ahead of you, or the person in line behind you, taps a screen for 30 seconds and walks away with the same meal for noticeably less. Then there's the points program, where every dollar spent earns points that convert into free menu items, and the math genuinely adds up faster than people expect. A few months of regular visits can quietly stack up enough points for a free sandwich or a free coffee that most people never even bother to redeem because they don't check the rewards tab. Combine that with ordering ahead for pickup, which skips the lineup entirely, locks in whatever daily deal is active, earns you points, and most importantly, removes you from the verbal upsell at the counter or speaker. The classic would you like to make that a large or add a pie moment that has been quietly adding extra dollars to Canadian orders for decades under slightly rebranded names. Stack all of that together, the daily deal, the points redemption, and the pickup order, and you're often looking at a meal that costs noticeably less than what someone walking up cold would pay for the exact same food. Secret number 3, the colors, the smells, and the layout of every Canadian McDonald's are engineered down to the smallest detail to get you to spend more than you planned. The red and yellow color palette was chosen decades ago because research consistently showed those colors trigger feelings of hunger and urgency, and every renovated location across the country still leans on that exact same psychology, sometimes softened with muted tones in newer designs. But the core formula remains. Inside, the most profitable combo meals and limited time offers sit at eye level on the digital menu boards, while the cheapest single items get pushed to the corners almost as an afterthought. These digital boards aren't static either. They rotate based on time of day and what corporate wants pushed during that window. Breakfast items dominating the morning screens, then quietly shifting to higher margin combos as the day goes on. And then there's the smell. The distinct aroma of fries that hits you the moment you walk through the door or roll down your window at the drive-thru, deliberately designed to trigger a craving before you've even glanced at a single price. By the time your brain processes the actual menu, your nose has already made half the decision for you. Studies on fast food spending consistently show that the majority of customers end up spending more than they intended to when they walked in, and that's not a coincidence or a personal failing. It's the predictable result of a system built by people whose entire job is figuring out how to make you crave something you weren't even thinking about 5 minutes ago. Secret number 2, what actually happens when a Canadian quits McDonald's for 30 days, no gym membership, no extreme diet, just cutting it out completely while eating normally everywhere else. One of our viewers from Vancouver agreed to try it and kept notes the entire time. Week 1 was almost entirely about habit, not hunger. His car kept drifting toward familiar drive-through entrances on autopilot during his commute, and he had to consciously redirect himself multiple times a day. Week 2, he noticed his face looked less puffy. That bloated, swollen look around the eyes and cheeks started fading, which makes sense given how sodium-heavy fast food meals tend to be, sometimes containing more salt in a single combo than health guidelines recommend for an entire day. Week 3, he actually sat down and calculated what he'd been spending, and the number surprised even him. He'd been averaging close to $220 a month at McDonald's without ever consciously tracking it, which works out to over $2,600 a year on food that costs the company a tiny fraction of that to produce. By the end of the month, he'd lost close to 10 pounds without changing anything else. And when he went in for a routine checkup, his blood pressure reading was noticeably lower than his previous visit. Low enough that his doctor asked if anything had changed in his diet. He didn't quit forever, he still goes occasionally, but now it's an occasional choice rather than a default habit baked into his weekly routine, and that distinction, choice versus habit, ended up being the entire point of the experiment. Secret number 1, the actual playbook for ordering smart at McDonald's in Canada. The stuff that turns you from someone who just pays whatever the screen says into someone who eats the same food for noticeably less money every single time. Start with what to order, stick to the core menu, the Big Mac, the Quarter Pounder, the McChicken, regular fries, and basic nuggets, because these items tend to have the tightest pricing consistency across franchises, meaning less of a markup gap between locations. Skip the limited time specialty burgers and the so-called premium items. Those are exactly where franchisees have the most pricing freedom, and often the difference between the fancy version and the regular version is a couple of extra toppings for several dollars more, when you could just order the basic version and add what you want yourself if the location allows it. Skip the entire healthy menu section. You already know the salad can rival a burger in calories, and the parfait rivals a candy bar in sugar. So if you're going to McDonald's, there's no point pretending. Get what you actually want and skip the illusion entirely. For breakfast, know that the standard scrambled eggs in most combos come pre-cooked and frozen, shipped in industrial packaging, and reheated on the grill. While the round folded egg, the one used specifically in the Egg McMuffin, is the one item that's actually cracked and cooked fresh on the grill in front of you, so if freshness matters to you, that's the one to ask for. When it comes to drinks, never order a small. The markup on a small drink is enormous compared to what the actual product costs. And the price difference between a small and a large is almost nothing relative to how much extra you're getting, making the large the only genuinely good value item on the entire menu. For payment, always open the app first. Every single time, check for the daily deal. Check the price at your location versus a nearby one if you have the option. Redeem any points sitting in your account before they expire, and order ahead for pickup whenever possible to skip both the lineup and the upsell. Timing matters too. Weekday mornings tend to have the shortest waits and the freshest food. The lunch rush between roughly 11:30 and 1:30 is when things get rushed and quality can slip. And late night drive-through orders are often working with food that's been sitting the longest under the heat lamps. One viewer who applied this entire playbook for a full month tracked her spending before and after, going from an average of around $13 per visit down to under $7 per visit, nearly cutting her bill in half while ordering essentially the same food, just with the app open, the deal activated, the points redeemed, and the order placed for pickup. McDonald's Canada is one of the most successful fast food operations in the country's history. Thousands of locations from coast to coast, millions of app users, billions in revenue, AI creeping into drive-thrus, bag weighing systems, geo-fenced kitchens that start cooking before you arrive, colors and smells engineered to make you hungrier than you actually are, and prices that quietly shift depending on which parking lot you pull into. The entire system is built on the bet that you'll show up hungry, order on autopilot, pay whatever number appears on the screen, and never think twice about any of it. That's how the revenue keeps climbing every single year. But you just spent the last several minutes learning exactly how the system works, the pricing gaps, the app tricks, the ingredient breakdowns, and the psychological design behind every color and smell in the building. So the next time you pull up to those golden arches anywhere in Canada, you're not just another hungry customer running on autopilot anymore. You're someone who actually read the playbook, and this entire system was never built with people like that in mind. One last thing before you go, a lot of Canadians assume Tim Hortons is somehow the more honest, more wholesome option, simply because it's the homegrown brand, the one with the maple leaf nostalgia and the hockey commercials. But if you actually compare ingredient lists, pricing tricks, and app loyalty mechanics side by side, the two chains are running almost identical playbooks, just wrapped in different branding, different mascots, and different national pride. The lesson isn't that one chain is secretly good and the other is secretly evil. The lesson is that every major fast food company in this country, regardless of the flag wrapped around it, is running the same fundamentals: hidden pricing variation, engineered cravings, app-exclusive savings most people never claim, and menu items designed more to make you feel a certain way than to actually deliver what they promise on the surface. And once you can see that pattern in one place, you start seeing it everywhere, which honestly might be the most valuable takeaway from this entire video. Drop your own McDonald's Canada story in the comments. Tell us which province has the worst prices you've personally seen, or let us know which menu item you're never ordering again after watching this. We read every single comment. And if you know someone who's still paying full price for the same meal everyone else gets cheaper, send this to them right now. Subscribe, stay sharp, and we'll see you in the next one.